Hey everybody, welcome to The Year Was, a podcast all about today. I'm your host, Michael Montalvo. Together we take the history train back in time once again to discover what makes today truly unique. For the next few minutes, we continue to gather random nuggets of trivia to make you sound smart, or just drop that little fact that makes others stop and say,
"Hey, who invited you?"
Like, seriously, why are you even here?
On this episode, we examine the events that occurred today, June 12th. Today we have a couple of returning guests, Jessica Villareal, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One reason being a lot's been going on for me this last week. And so I just haven't had as much time to really go in and do the research that I really needed to in order to get this episode up and running. I'm also trying to get some help for this thing. So you guys were my test subjects for bringing in people to help do this podcast.
Woohoo! Guinea pigs.
Yeah, guinea pigs. Also, I don't know if you know this, I've actually gotten some compliments on a previous episode of mine.
Oh.
And that was the JFK episode with Mel B. That was the Mel B episode, right?
Yeah, that was the Mel B episode.
Yeah, people were like, yeah, I really enjoyed that episode with JFK. You guys, the guests that you had did a really good job.
Dang, I'm super proud of myself.
And I was like, dang it, man. Now I'm going to have them back, and I don't want them back, but it's just something that's going to happen. So today, I didn't do pretty much any research on this because, like I said, everything's been kind of busy for me. And I called you up on the text message.
Yes, you called me on the text message.
And I said, hey, can you do this? And you agreed to do it.
Yes.
So if you want to go ahead and start, just do the intro and just do the thing.
For which one, the first one or the second one?
Do the first one, and we'll go into
The year was 1929, and Anneliese Marie Frank was born in Frankfurt, Germany. Anne Frank, she's one of the most widely known Holocaust victims. She was 15 years old when she died. She became known when the Diary of a Young Girl was published in 1947 in Dutch and 1952 in English. The Franks were known as liberal Jews because they did not observe all of the traditional customs and traditions of Judaism. In 1940, Otto Frank, Anne Frank's dad, tried to move his family to the U.S., but his visa was never processed, so he was very close to getting out.
What happened with the visa, do you know?
It just was never processed.
Mm-hmm. And that was on his side, or?
I didn't see that, but yeah. Anne Frank got the diary for her 13th birthday, but it wasn't actually a diary. It was actually an autograph book. That I didn't know. I thought that was kind of interesting.
That is interesting. They
were going to go into hiding on July 16th, 1942, but on the 5th, Margot, Anne's sister, got a notice telling her to appear for relocation to a work camp, so they went into hiding 10 days earlier than planned. So they went in on the 6th, or the 5th or 6th. They hid behind a bookshelf in a building that her father Otto worked in. On July 13th, they were joined by the Van Pels, 8 days after they went into hiding. November 16th, Fritz Pfeffer was added to the group. In Anne's diary, he was called Albert Dussel. I have no idea why, because I didn't find anything that said why. But he and Anne did not get along. They did not like each other. So that makes a total of 8 people. All of this information that we know is because of her diary. She detailed her life a lot by writing to her imaginary friend named Kitty. They were in hiding for 25 months. They were caught by Gestapo August 1944. In October or November, Anne and her sister Margot were sent from Auschwitz to Bergen-Belson camp. They died a few months later, allegedly from typhus. Otto was the only one in the family to survive, and he was the one that published the book. The book was saved by his secretary, Miep Geiss, who died in 2010, so not that long ago. It's officially been 90 years since she was born. Today you can go to the Anne Frank house, which they turned into a museum in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands. Adults can go in for €10 or about $12 US. But if you are going, you should get tickets now because as of today, the next time they have tickets is for July 18th.
I didn't realize that you had to buy tickets I like
Ahead of time, yeah.
that far ahead. Yeah. One of the things, and I was gonna mention the Anne Frank house, but one of the things that, if I remember right, her dad edited the diary to kind of take out some of the things about her. I don't know how else to kind of say
Her
it.
more personal
Yes.
feelings towards some of the other members. Like, there was a teenage boy,
Yeah.
and to kind of censor those
Do
thoughts and feelings.
Did you find out how they were caught?
There was a lot of speculation on whether or not they were betrayed,
Mm-hmm.
but there's no solid concrete proof that says that they were.
I remember. I'm going to be honest. The only thing I really know about Anne Frank is that she was Jewish. She went into hiding. She was caught, and then she died in a concentration camp.
Yeah.
And then most of what I know from that is just because of the movie that came out. It was black and white. I want to say the 50s, 60s.
Yeah.
And so I don't really know a whole lot about that. I think they may have done the betrayal thing in the movie.
I think that's right.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, PBS or someone did another little short, and I remember watching that. You know what? This Wishbone may have done a thing about Anne Frank.
Oh, maybe.
The dog. It was a dog show.
Yeah.
We went into books and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm almost certain that he did. And I can't imagine being someone like of Jewish religion who's looking at someone who's non-Jewish and who whittles their religion and their beliefs down to. You have pretty much Moses, you have Jesus, you have the Holocaust, Israel, and Anne Frank, pretty much.
Right.
And that's how most, I would say, non-Jewish people would look at that.
Right.
And so, being able to kind of look at this and get more information on that, I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
So.
The Anne Frank, I just have their last thing is their mission statement. The Anne Frank House is an independent organization that manages the place where Anne Frank was in hiding during the Second World War and where she wrote her diary. The organization increases global awareness of her life story, encouraging people to reflect on the dangers of anti-Semitism, racism, and discrimination, and the importance of freedom, equal rights, and democracy.
I was going to mention, that's a very good thing.
Yes.
But I was going to mention I think probably one of the, and you're kind of looking at this, yes, we know about her. I don't know that a lot of Americans in particular know about this house, and I hate saying this about Americans, care about that house.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of why people even know about it is because of Fault in Our Stars. I think they went to the house in that movie, in the book, and also Justin Bieber's tweet.
Yes.
Where he said that he hoped she would have been a believer. And it's like, why would you write that?
Right, yeah.
And I guess people who are Lonely Island fans would know it from the Lonely Island movie.
And I think there was, in school, I know that I studied a book that was, I don't know if it was an actual diary or if it was something else, but.
Didn't they also leave the last couple of pages in the book blank?
Yes.
Just to kind of show that this was like a diary and it was never completed.
Yeah.
We're at time right now, but we have one more topic. Do we want to go ahead and talk about it?
We can do it. We can always release it as an extra little.
Yeah, just put it on the thing. Do you want to read it or do you want me to?
It's up to you.
You know what? You go ahead and do it.
You sure?
Yeah. You know what? You go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Well, I did the Mel B.
You did the research on these, and I am very grateful that you were able to do this. All
right. So the year was 1931, and AlCapone was indicted on 5,000 counts of prohibition and perjury on tax evasion. On June 16th, 1931, AlCapone pled guilty to tax evasion and prohibition charges. He boasted to the press that he had struck a deal for a 2.5-year sentence, but the presiding judge told him, I don't think so. He said he was not bound by any deal. After that, Capone changed his plea to not guilty. November 24th, he was sentenced to 11 years in prison, fined $50,000, charged $7,692 for court costs, as well as $215,000 on back taxes plus interest. So that's lots of money.
Yeah. Who's good with math? Who wants to add that up?
I'm not good with math.
I'm not good with math. We'll do it later.
The 6-month contempt of court sentence was to be served concurrently. He ended up serving 7 years, 6 months, and 15 days. He was released from Alcatraz on November 16th, 1939, after having paid all of his fines and back taxes. He died January 25th, 1947, after suffering from pneumonia and a stroke.
Couple of questions. How did he pay his taxes and all of that while he was in prison? I guess he's mafia, but...
I was going to leave that to the imagination.
He probably had already earned all that money.
And I would have sworn he died from something like syphilis or something. I didn't know it was pneumonia.
Yeah. And I think he was supposed to serve like 11 years, I saw.
Yeah.
Only
That's crazy.
seven and like a half.
Just let him out of prison because he paid everything?
I guess so.
Well, I guess he would probably have connections and everything. Well, that's not bad. That's good little tidbits. So, to recap for everybody, Al Capone was sentenced to prison for tax evasion.
$272,692.
That's a lot of money.
That is.
Or not with inflation.
That's not even, we don't even know what that is today. That's
true.
nuts.
Purely because we don't have the math skills right now.
Yeah. And our final topic was, second topic, was Anne Frank being born on this day in 1929. But I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you both for coming back and being here and for doing this episode.
Sure,
really.
No problem.
Yeah.
And that's going to do it for us today. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can find an extended audio version on iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, and Google Play. Links in the description. Actually, I think most places you get your podcasts, you can find me now. So that's pretty good. If you like the podcast and you want to hear more, please give us a rate and a review. That helps me out and lets me know what direction to keep this going in. And hey, if you liked it, share it with a friend, because they might like it too. You can find me on social media and at YouTube at the Apple Cider Club. And as always, I want to thank the Tim Kreitz Band for our musical theme. And thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.